up, guys? Welcome to another episode of According to Kaz and Queen. And as always, I am Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this is conversations that take place between a husband and wife in the privacy of our own home that we bring to you guys, sometimes to make you laugh, sometimes to make you think, sometimes to be introspective. But as always, we want to open the lines of communication between husbands and wives, friends and lovers, men and women, all of that good stuff. We're available on all streaming services. You already know where to look. You already know where we are. Wherever you check out podcast, that's where we are. All right. You can also check us out on Black with No Chaser Radio. All right. So make sure that you're downloading the BWNC Radio app. Make sure that you're downloading the BWNC Radio app. Go check us out there. You can also check us out on all social media platforms. All right. You know what they are. We're on Facebook. All right. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. All right. All of those / Kaz and Queen. You can check us out there, of course. And if you want to see our bright, shiny faces, you can check out this podcast every week by just subscribing to our YouTube channel. All right. Subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/ Brad Kamikaze Franklin. All right. If you're listening to us, that's Brad, BRAD, KAMIKAZE FRANKLIN. Brad Kamikaze Franklin. Check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Turn on those notifications. We're inching up closer to 1,000 subscribers. And you can also hear the audio only version on YouTube as well. It comes out on Wednesdays. All right. The day after the podcast drops here live on Wednesdays, you can check out the audio version. If you are one of those people that like to take in your podcast via YouTube, you can do that as well. And of course, as we always say, if you got any questions or any comments or anything that you want us to talk about here, hit us up on the email at kazandqueen@gmail.com. That's kazandqueen@gmail.com. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Ask us a question. Relationships, marriage, all that good stuff. Check us out. And this is brought to you by the Kundi Collection. All right. And we're both outfitted today. This is one of my favorites right here that my bride came up with. And one of the favorites of you guys, too, as well. The Heel t-shirt. All right. And also the Shut Up and Shine. So this is the Queen inspired Kundi Collection wear that we are wearing here today. But you can go to the website www.kundicollective.com and you can check those out there. All right, so a lot of things going on, coming in off of a long weekend, coming in off of Easter weekend. So, you know, had a few extra days off, getting into it, getting back in the week. A lot of stuff going on in the world. A lot of stuff happened on last week after we visited with you guys last. The whole Diddy thing, you know, came out. It was a lot of crazy stuff going on with that. I want to touch on that real quick before we get to it. We don't have all of the information and all of the pieces. We do know that, you know, since we were on last, that, you know, the feds bust into Diddy's Miami, Los Angeles, and New York homes looking for information. Don't know what they were looking for exactly, but if you've been following the story, you kind of know where that story is headed. Interesting enough, we've had this conversation before as it related to, you know, R. Kelly. I even posted about something after being in the club this past weekend and hearing Mystikal in the club. And Mystikal, you know, himself being a serial rapist. When you hear these things after having watched this guy's career, and there's a lot of people out there that are saying, oh my God, they're trying to take another black billionaire down, or they're trying to take another successful black man down, or like Boosie was saying online, why can't y'all say anything good about him? Why is everybody saying bad stuff about him? And for me, I have my own particular take when it comes to sexual predators. But, you know, as a woman, you know, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. These are people that, you know, we followed and have been prominent in entertainment. And it is proven that they were pretty shitty human beings. Otherwise, we know of Diddy's business practices, but, you know, I don't think he's done anything business wise that a lot of people have not done in the music industry, unfortunately. But the sexual deviancy, if this is indeed true, is going to be a deal breaker for me as a man. But I don't know.
So you're not going to listen to anything Puff name on?
Oh, see, that's
no bad boy stuff at all. No Faith Evans. You ain't listening to none of that
that's
no
the
more.
thing. It's different than with R. Kelly and Mystikal because they've got their particular songs. There were bad boy artists that made jamming records that had nothing to do with any of this stuff that Puffy is doing. They were under the bad boy label, but you know,
Puffy still get money off of it if you listen to it.
I mean, yeah, but I know I won't listen to Missing You or All About the Benjamins, any of the songs that was on that Puff Daddy album that came out that we all jammed to when it came out. I know I can compartmentalize that. It's a lot of different things that you can stop watching Revolt TV. Well, he's already sold all of his stock from Revolt, so he's trying to remove himself from the Revolt situation so that doesn't blow back on that business. But, you know, it's a different scenario. He's not on all the bad boy records. He's not on Biggie's records. He's not on the Faith Evans records. He's on some of the Lox records. He's on some of the...
But I thought the point was you didn't want to support him.
I mean, yes.
If you still listening to those records, he's still being supported.
If you're talking about the entire Bad Boy catalog, that's pretty extensive when he wasn't on those records. But I see your point. I
don't know. You know, I am like really in the middle on this thing. And what I've been doing is, like, for instance, R. Kelly. Sometimes I feel like I want to revisit the time in my life where I was listening to R. Kelly. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to him on a regular, like, put on the playlist type thing. But sometimes I do want to hear those songs. So what I have been doing is when I hear the song, if the song takes me to where I'm trying to go, cool. But what I found is that some of them songs take me to where R. Kelly was. Mm-hmm. Those songs, when I feel like a ick, those songs I just don't listen to. So for me, what I'm noticing happening for me is that I have an attachment to certain artists and certain songs because of what they represent for me when I listen to them. Whether it was some time ago or not. In the case of R. Kelly, it was, some time ago. And I was a gigantic R. Kelly fan. So I know all his songs from all his albums. And so it's really difficult for me to just let go of that. While I do understand that he's a horrible human, I get it. Like, I'm not even trying to justify anything. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know how much suffering I want to do because he's kind of a fuckboy. So I just go on a case-by-case situation. If I'm able to get through the song without thinking about R. Kelly being a creep, then I listen to it. But what I found is some of them songs take me directly to, and when I feel like that, I don't listen.
He wrote those songs with an underage girl in mind. You could just see him in his mind, the little thought bubble that comes up in the cartoons. And
when I heard the song to begin with, and what connected me to the music was not R. Kelly and what he was doing. I wasn't thinking of being or doing anything with R. Kelly. What I was thinking about was what I was doing when I heard those songs. And those memories don't go away because R. Kelly, the person who performed the songs or wrote the songs, wrote them for a predatory reason. Now, that sounds really creepy to say. I get it. I understand that. I ain't trying to say that I got it worked out. All I'm saying is that, those songs helped me find my sexuality, kind of, I did a lot of...
Yeah.
Had a lot of experiences on a lot of those songs. And sometimes when I want to feel like that person that I was back then, those songs can get me there. There are a few of them that I can't listen to. Again, there are some of them that I'm just like, it just takes me right there to, I think this dude is a creep. But some of them don't.
And I get that. And I was telling you when we were in the club this past weekend, Mystikal for me puts me kind of in that same mindset because I was a Mystikal fan, not just of the music, but the live stage show. I saw him several times live. He was a great performer. The music jammed, and coming from Louisiana at the time, it wasn't a lot of Southern artists that were making a name for themselves. So watching his rise from underground to where he went to was also, good to see. But the music jammed so hard that, I find myself, my toes be tapping a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It would come on and then I have to
pick up the pieces.
Yeah. So and you think about like somebody was saying on my post that I made, like Shake It Fast. The first line of that song is I came in with in my hand.
Yeah.
And then you like, well, sir, you actually did. According to the police records, you came in the room.
Actually did.
You actually came in with your in your hand when you came in there, and and then not once, but twice. Not once you go to jail for this, and you have 8 years of your career taken away. You get out, and then you go back again, and you get arrested again for the same thing, and then have it happen again, like it perpetually continues to happen, and. For me, that just solidifies and stamps that, can't really support it like that. So I understand the R. Kelly fans. I understand their trepidation and the challenges they have with listening to the music, because Mystikal does the same thing for me. But ultimately, you cannot support sexual deviance in a way. I was doing an interview earlier this week, and I was basically saying there's a lot of things that are forgivable. There's a lot of things that you can give grace for. A lot of things that, you can still try to find a positive in. I just have a line at sexual deviance. I have a line at, harming kids, harming women, and harming the elderly. There's a line there where, you harm those three defenseless groups of people. You're not a good human being.
Well, you know what? You can fix that. You can fix that up however you need to fix that up for yourself and be okay with it. But be reminded that, and I hate to go here, but it is the truth, that God grants us grace daily, minute to minute, hour to hour, and He doesn't say, you don't deserve grace. You don't deserve grace. We all deserve grace. So if we want to be better humans, then we got to be able to offer some grace even to the folks who you think don't deserve it, because somebody out there in the world may think you don't deserve it.
You're right. And you tell
But at the same time, you have to make that work for yourself, whatever that looks like. Like for me, it's what I just explained. I'm not listening to certain songs. Certain songs I feel like belong to me, and certain songs I feel like belong to R. Kelly. R. Kelly can have them songs back. But the songs that I have attached myself to and gave definition to and permission to myself to listen to, I feel like I have the freedom to do that. And I'm not telling y'all how to work that out for you. Some people are just like, I'm not listening to him at all. And some people are like, I'm going to keep listening to him. But everybody has, the right to make their own decisions about it. I don't think that if you listen to R. Kelly today, or if you listen to Mystikal, I don't think that you're saying, yay, rape people. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I don't know.
Weird. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not saying be out there and do predatory stuff, please, because you listen to a song. Like, but I also don't feel like we shouldn't recognize and hold them accountable for what they've done as well. And the truth of the matter is, especially in the case of R. Kelly, the only way that as a community that we can show him that we don't approve of the things that he's done is to not spend money with him.
And that's how you hurt them. You hurt them financially. You hurt their pockets. R. Kelly has suffered greatly in his pockets. He'll probably never get out of jail. At least not until he's extremely elderly, if he's able to work his way out of jail. But he has taken a hit. He's had monies that have been seized while he's been in there, and the sales have, gone down. And Mystikal has suffered in the same fashion. And already Diddy is having to sell stock in things that he owns in order for them to be able to continue. Same situation with Vince McMahon. Same thing. We're going to talk about WrestleMania a little bit later, but the same thing with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon sold his stocks. He no longer, and no one with the McMahon name, no longer have anything to do with WWE at all whatsoever. So imagine starting something and creating something.
And building it.
Your family built a business, and then there be a point in that company where nobody in your family has anything to do with it at all whatsoever.
Triple H and his family.
He's a son-in-law.
He just ain't got the last name, McMahon last name.
I really, it's almost, we can talk about that in a little while. I really feel like that was just a plan. He is a son-in-law just because this is what I needed to do to get to this position. But we talked about that as well. But we'll get to that in 1 second. But as far as Diddy and the records are concerned, you make a good point, and you always make the point because I'm a very hardline guy, and I'm trying to learn to not be a hardline guy, and I'm trying to figure out why I became a hardline guy, why it was so important for me to not be malleable in some instances in regards to humans and what they do. And you always say what you say, and it always makes a lot of sense. And we know that God is the ultimate person that gives grace at the end of the day, and he gives us grace every day. And I know this, it's difficult. It's very difficult because you want to, these people deserve to have an element of punishment for what it is they're doing, because what you're doing here is just beyond the pale. You're beyond being a bad human being. You sexually taking advantage of minors, underage girls, women, doing something to the elderly. The same thing for people who, attack and hurt and maim old people when they're breaking in older people's homes, or, robbing older people, carjacking older people. Like, there are certain people in our society that should be protected at all times. The most vulnerable of us, women, children, the elderly. Just for me, I just feel like there should be some type of extra punishment for those people that, jail cannot hold, and Diddy has done some diabolical things in business. We know this, but he hadn't done anything any different than I think any of the other people who have been in his position in the industry have done before.
Diddy too loud.
Yeah.
That's most of the issue with our community. And the reason we like people talking about why so much conversation happening about Diddy online, and nobody's talking about the Nickelodeon dude, the Dan dude.
But they did, which is crazy because I saw that post. They did.
They definitely are not. Listen, my timeline a couple of days ago was full of nothing but Beyonce and Diddy all day long. Mm-hmm. The Dan dude popped up 2 or 3 times on my timeline. Now, I'm not saying that, I have a very, very well curated timeline. So only a certain amount of things are going to come across my timeline. So I'm not saying it's not out there.
Carefully curated is not even the word.
Well, you know what the hell I mean.
I mean, it's beyond that. It's like,
it's like I put a lot of time and energy into only seeing what uplifts me and stuff that I'm actually interested in. I take a great deal of care of my timeline. Which sometimes filters out, vital news that you kind of need to have sometimes. Not necessarily, because what you define as vital and what I define as vital is 2 different things. Is it going to be the type of timeline you'd be interested in? Probably not. But I probably wouldn't be interested in yours. Well, I know that. I just have this thing about kind of knowing what's going on. We have this discussion all the time, y'all, because her timeline is heavily filtered, which is by choice. Everybody, there are parameters in place on social media for you to have your timeline exactly how you want it. But, I also want you to know if there's a Category 5 tornado coming through. I check the weather every day. That we need to prepare for, or if, there's a solar eclipse, something, a criminal on the loose in your area, that kind of thing. I get news. I just don't get toxicity and drama. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't have I don't have the need to constantly flow through and scroll through negativity. If it's not positive or concerning somebody somebody I'm actually concerned about, if it doesn't have anything to do with those things. And no, I don't need to social media is killing people's brains out there. So I don't need to take in all that junk, to it eventually will affect you. And I've lived through that. I've lived through being depressed and not knowing why, and then being told spiritually to disconnect from social media, and then realize, oh, okay, so this is attached to social media. Like
it really is. It is a feeling that you can get, and just sitting here thinking about it now, I think about not having to get on social media and being detached from it, and you instantly feel more peaceful, which is crazy. And I hate it again because I've said it on here before. Like, I wish that, I was in another field that did not require me to be so in tune to what happens on social media, to be caught up to, when you're doing marketing and branding and these are things that you're doing, or you're promoting events, you kind of, it's a beast that you have to fight.
You need boundaries, baby.
You know what I'm saying? But, boundaries can have something where you miss some vital information. Like, you gotta figure it out. And you got to figure out a healthy median. Maybe I have not figured it out yet, but it's difficult. But you are exactly right, and I'm pretty sure you feel that peace because having to be in tune with what's going on and knowing what's happening opens you up to everything. Speaking of which, Lizzo, the past couple of days, put out a post saying that she was quitting. We don't know what she's quitting, if it's everything. Hopefully it's not anything worse than that. But she said that she is just tired of coming online and being ridiculed and being attacked. And she's going to be quitting. And I don't know if that means social media or whatever the case is, but she seems to have reached her final straw on this. And people have varying opinions on this. And some people are saying that she's doing it because she got caught doing other stuff and is in trouble with people who have worked for her in the past. And some people are sympathetic to her. But, when you saw it, I sent that to you. But, in seeing instances like this and people who have reached a certain level of fame suddenly and get inundated with what happens on social media, and she has been the brunt of a lot of it. What do you think about that?
I think she gets it because she presented herself to be thick-skinned and confident.
And wasn't. And
so people thought that she'd be able to handle that, and she was not. And I told you then that she wasn't, that it was a mask. And what's happened is, even if she had some level of confidence, it wasn't what she presented. And people started going in at her instead of being supportive, which is what she got initially. Now she old news, and people letting her have it like they let everybody else have it. And they going for her the way that they go for everybody else. But it's just a touchy thing because we don't have a whole lot of people out there who are plus sized, who present themselves with confidence. And she was almost arrogant, really. She went beyond, I'm just confident.
It felt like she was trying to overdo it to convince us that she was confident.
That's the mask.
Yeah. And
so now she is beat up. They done got her. And I understand her frustration. I do. I get it. I'm not sure that she means that post. I think it might have just been a moment of woe is meanness. But I hope for her that it's, an opportunity to self-reflect, because if quitting is what she needs to do, then that's what she needs to do. But the internet has no chill, no filter. They don't care about nobody's feelings. So if you're not about that life, don't act like you about that life.
Yeah.
Because it'll get you. The more you act like you are ready and willing and able to handle it, the more they throw at you. Because they don't think it's going to stick. So they go for the jugular every time. They don't give you them nice little, girl, don't wear that. They don't give you that. They give you the whole shebang because you done presented yourself like you don't care.
The whole threads and whole think pieces on what Lizzo is wearing. And I do feel that there were times where she wore stuff because she was trying to be like, I'm defiant and I'm really confident. And in a lot of instances, it looked like she was kind of overdoing it, because when you're truly confident, you don't have to do it to that level. In my opinion, I'm not going to speak for her or a woman's body at all whatsoever. She's, I was always supportive and said that she was well within her rights to wear whatever it is that she wanted to wear. But tell people all the time, when you wear stuff or you say stuff and you do stuff, you also open yourself up to the other side of that as well. And you have to be prepared for that. Unfortunately, the internet has gotten much worse. It's gotten much more toxic. It's gotten to the point where at some point I really do believe that they're going to put some parameters in place. And people are going to be screaming about free speech, free speech, free speech. But I think it has to happen because we're seeing too many people doing things like Lizzo. We're seeing too many young kids now, 12, 13, 14 years old, taking their lives because of cyberbullying and things that are happening on social media. So it's a toxic place. And you look at what Lizzo has to deal with juxtaposed to what Beyonce has had to deal with.
Oh, they give it to Beyonce
and they
too?
give it to Beyonce. But man, let me just tell you, because we got to talk about this Cowboy Carter album.
Yeah, in Texas, ain't no hold on.
Beyonce could arguably be, and I don't impress easy, okay? And my wife knows this. I've been in the music business for a while. We've done a lot of things, seen a lot of things, been around a lot of stuff, and just, I've seen so much and heard so much music over the course of my life that, I'm not impressed, quote unquote, by anything. I will see things and I'll be like, oh, that's dope, or that could be better. But I really fawn over things. And I'm not fawning over the album per se. I am fawning over the aura that is Beyonce knows. It's breathtaking how incredible she is.
She's incredible. She is incredible.
I don't know, now that I look back on it, I say to myself how Matthew Knowles knew it, because that was his child. He knew it, and she's where she is, although, he wasn't the best father or husband. He was a little icky himself in a lot of instances, but he knew his daughter. He knew this one right here. Like, how do you even, looking back on it, like, how dare you put her in a group? How dare you do it? How dare you?
That was a part of the plan.
And it had to, and even looking back now, even as a part of the plan, you really didn't even have to do it as a part of the plan.
Sure he did.
I don't know.
He absolutely did. The way that he did it was masterful. I think that he created Beyonce. He made her into who she is. It's almost like a child in their formative years. She had support in her group members. She didn't have to do it by herself. That protected her from some of that childhood stuff that happens to a lot of people who come into the industry early. She had support. She had people she could talk to that was around her experiencing the same thing. She built a sisterhood, and the other people that were in Destiny's Child, at any iteration of them, in either one of the groups, that all of them are doing significantly well. Like, not as good as Beyonce, of course, but all of them are doing significantly well. So he didn't just build Beyonce. It's 5 other women that came through 4 other women that came through Destiny's Child who he gave an opportunity to.
The gap between what they're not even in the ballpark of what Beyonce is doing, and they're doing good things.
Nobody is in the ballpark of what Beyonce is doing.
And I was about to say that there's no one in the world,
it's irresponsible to compare her to anybody, on the planet
is in the arena or the ballpark.
She superseded Michael Jackson at this point.
Take it easy.
Did Michael Jackson make a country album?
Take it easy. He could have.
Did he?
But he did not.
Okay.
And you know why?
End of discussion.
And you know why he didn't make a country album?
Because,
you want to know why?
Because black folks weren't making country albums when he was alive.
Nope, that's not the reason. You know why he didn't have to make a country album?
Didn't have to?
Yes.
She didn't either.
But she did.
She did.
That takes it out of the realm. Now, I want you to watch yourself, but you know why Michael Jackson didn't have to do a country album?
Because he already had white fans.
Because he made Thriller. Thriller. Michael Jackson
This
made
is
Thriller.
the part of the conversation where you just start going down the road of your own preference talk.
Michael Jackson made Thriller, okay? He did Thriller.
It's too early for this. Go ahead. What's next?
Now, no, listen. We're having a conversation here. It's just in the flow of the conversation. I know you get antsy about Beyonce, and I'm acknowledging that Beyonce is super dope. And in comparison, the person that she could be compared to in superstardom would be Michael Jackson. Has she eclipsed Michael Jackson yet? I don't know. That's a fair assessment. Do you feel like she's gotten close to eclipsing Michael Jackson?
I think the country album put her in another league. And Michael Jackson never made a whole what's the genre that Renaissance was? Dance music.
Dance. House.
He never did that either. She is literally deciding, I'm going to do every genre of music. Like, this girl could go put out a blues album or what they call it, bluegrass. And God, please let her put out a gospel album. I mean, and the truth of the matter is, a lot of the songs on her album are not authentically country. So she's not, just like she said, this is not a country album. This is a Beyonce album, which means whatever I want to make, I can make it, and it's going to do well.
Which is amazing. And
it's amazing.
Give her, it's amazing. There's no one touching.
She dropped an album of just videos. She don't do no promo. She don't do no nothing. She just dropped albums. And Michael Jackson never did that.
The Thriller album is still charting right now to this day. Still charts. In modern times, it's still on the Billboard. When Beyonce is able to do that,
how about we say that Beyonce has not, and I don't even know if I agree with this. I'd have to think about it, but let's just say she hasn't made a Thriller, because the contribution musically, she's surpassed Michael Jackson.
I will give you that, because she has not made a Thriller. And she hasn't even sold close to what Thriller has. She hasn't.
I'll give you that. That's a nice little compromise. Let's live there.
She's incredible. I will say that. She can do whatever she wants to do. She can put it out when she wants to put it out. It can be whatever it is. And there is thousands and thousands of tweets and posts all over derailing what she's doing. You know, white people are beside themselves at the thought of black people reclaiming what it is that we invented in the first place. So they're going to try to do whatever they can to try to block it. And then it's incredible, because even as you try to block it and not play it and not categorize it, it's a juggernaut that you cannot stop. It is a tidal wave that you cannot stop. Beyonce Knowles Carter is a force of nature, and I will give her that. But she did not make Thriller.
You know what I think sets Beyonce apart from most artists?
What's that?
I think Beyonce does not, she's positioned herself enough in her life to not really care what her records do. I think she makes records that she wants to make. She is a perfectionist, so they always gonna be good, but she does it for the love of the craft, not because she needs a check or not because she wants to be seen or not, none of that. I think she do it because she love it and she can.
She went past needing a check in Destiny's Child before she left Destiny's Child.
Most artists out here today are not making music under those guides. They are not making music because they love the music. They making music because they hoping for it to be a means to an end. And I think having the release of that amount of pressure and desperation is why she always wins, because she can do whatever she want to do whenever she want to do it, if she chooses to. You know, we might not see but one of them in a lifetime, you know.
Yeah, because I think Michael Jackson passed as Destiny's Child was coming into the game, I think, maybe. Or maybe they had been here for a couple of years, maybe, I think. So those things kind of cycle over. I mean, that's the closest comparison that we can make to any artist of any time is going to be Michael Jackson. You know, nobody comes remotely close. Taylor Swift is not in the discussion or in the ballpark at all. The comparisons are disgusting, and they're disrespectful.
Black folks don't listen to Taylor Swift like white people listen to Beyonce and Michael Jackson.
You know, I think it's the same thing because I don't think black people watch Nickelodeon at the level that white people did. I think that was also the issue with what we were talking about earlier too.
I've seen a lot of people say they watched it, but I never really watched it.
They watched the shows that had the black people on them.
Yeah, Nick Cannon had a couple of things on there, and That's So Raven. I think you're right.
All that, you know, with Kenan and Kel, and Kenan and Kel had their own show. I think black folk watched the shows that black people were on because we hadn't seen
black people
on TV
like that
on Nickelodeon like that. So, you know, the Dan Snyder thing, you know, didn't. But anyway, I digress. Did Beyonce have an album where every song on the album was a single and a hit single and a charting single?
I don't know.
Okay, we gotta look into that because Thriller was that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very possible, but I don't know. I'm kind of late to the Beehive. You know, I kind of had the love-hate relationship with her when she married Jigga. I wrote her off. I was done with her. And then she started Beyonce, and I was just like, you know, there's no way that I could deny this woman.
The one Destiny's Child chick that we have not seen, because you said all of them are kind of doing their thing. We know LaToya's doing her thing, Michelle's doing her thing, Kelly's doing her thing. The other two.
There was one that was just there for like a song or two, maybe an album, but they sent her away on tour. I don't think she's doing anything. But the other one, she's doing some stuff. She was on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
She was. That's
she's
right.
Done a couple of plays with Candy, I think. She's doing some stuff. She's not making as much noise, but it took LaToya some time to start making noise
LaToya
as
had
well.
To find out what
her
where
thing
she could
was.
get into her thing.
I don't even know if she's singing anymore, but she's full on acting, and she's good.
And she's doing a good job at it, and that's good. Which is difficult, even for the other two young ladies to have at one time, been able close enough to touch the hem of Beyonce's garment.
I think all of them, except maybe Kelly, are just as enamored with Beyonce as the rest of the world.
I'm pretty sure, and they might. You could tell it was infectious. You could tell the energy. Your eyes were drawn to her when she was in the group. You could just tell she was just anointed. And you have people like that are born in this world that just draw energy like that, and they're eclectic, and your eyes directly hone in on them. You just knew Beyonce. Everybody said from the very beginning, after a couple of songs with Destiny's Child, they knew what the inevitable end to this was going to be Beyonce, going solo. And I don't think it has anything to do with anything except for the fact that she's just anointed to do what it is. Even if her father wasn't there and he had a huge part of it, I just think that she was going to fall into, even meeting Jay-Z and marrying Jay-Z, she just is one of those people that just stumbles upward. People that just by happenstance, they stumbled into greatness.
I can't poo-poo her like that. That girl worked hard.
No, I'm not saying she doesn't work hard.
She didn't stumble into anything.
No.
She created lanes for herself.
When I'm saying stumble, what I mean is even in stumble moments, she's so good that her mistakes that I'm sure she made along the way, her mistakes were forward moving. She never went backwards. She was I'm always falling forward. You know what I'm saying? If I fall here, I'm going to fall in a good spot. I'm always falling forward because that's what hard work does. Hard work and that positive energy is going to always have you going in a forward motion. Even when you fall, you're going to fall forward. Some people, they fall back. But she looks like one of those people that just, even if she does make a mistake and she admittedly says, okay, well, in this humble moment, I did this wrong and I did this wrong. She still went into something, you know what I'm saying? Even in who she attracted as her husband, even in how she has attracted her family life, all of that was just upward. You know what I'm saying? She ended up marrying the top MC in the game and was drawn to her. Although, it's a little cloudy when we talk about, the years in which he began, courting her.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
it gets a little cloudy in there.
It doesn't matter. They are married with children now, so leave it alone.
Should we leave it alone?
Yes. Yes, we should.
Do you ever think about that?
No, I don't.
We might need to
because she was grown when we found out. They were smart enough to not let us know until she was grown. Leave it at that. Why y'all always going back digging up old shit?
Are you saying
just
when we
looking
found
for
out?
a reason to have some drama?
I'm not looking
and
for
some
anything,
mess
baby.
on somebody.
But
leave them folks alone,
baby.
What?
Baby.
What?
It's a little cloudy. It's murky in there. Can you admit it's murky?
No, I can't admit nothing.
Are you being an enabler now?
Enabler?
Because of Sean Carter?
No, I'm not. They married with children. They fine. Leave them alone. He ain't traumatized her.
I mean, well, clearly, there's that. All right, well, we'll just leave it at that. Gets a little touchy, folks.
As far as we know.
There we go. I knew it was in there. There's my baby. I knew it was in there.
You're trying to make me say something negative about Sean Carter.
No, I'm just trying to see if you understand the facts and the timeline.
I'm aware of the facts.
And the timeline.
I'm aware of the timeline.
Okay. We'll talk about it offline and we'll come back to it.
We're not talking about this again.
Oh, we're going to revisit it.
You can talk.
We're going to revisit it. At any rate, in just a few days.
Jay-Z, if you're listening, I love you. You're great. Beyonce is great as well.
Hey, Jay-Z, if you're listening, we'll take the $500,000 and not lunch. Just FYI. As an aside, we'll take the $500,000.
Did you say we'll take the $500 and not lunch?
Yes, absolutely.
That's a tough one.
A fight gonna come with that, baby. I'm telling you.
Is he delivering the $500,000?
I don't care if it's a stork delivering it. It doesn't matter to me. Just deliver the $500,000.
Would you be mad if I took the lunch?
Baby, there is no level of furious that I can describe.
Do you understand that I could sit in lunch with Jay-Z and he could give me game that could give me way more than $500,000?
That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Even he said himself to take the $500,000. He said it himself. It's so stupid of a question that even he said it. I could take that. I could take that $500,000 and I could put us in a position to where Jay-Z would want to have lunch with us.
Yeah.
So let's just say that.
Okay. He did say that, though. He was like, that's a stupid question.
That's a real stupid question.
He was like, take the money.
I'm not going to lunch with myself. I'm not going to go with myself for the $500,000. What are we even talking about here? This is crazy that was hilarious. That was actually a thing. I'm not taking lunch with anybody over any amount of money because I can get what I need from that. It doesn't matter who it is. Steve Jobs, Jay-Z, Barack Obama, any of that. I'm taking the money over the lunch.
Excuse me.
Because I can get it figured out on my own. Because I feel like I'm smart enough to do that. I feel like we're smart enough to be able to do that. So there's that. At any rate, WrestleMania is coming up this weekend. For those of you that are listening to this podcast, you've probably never heard us touch on wrestling before. But I am a wrestling fan and have been for probably the better part of 35 years. I've been watching wrestling since I was 12 years old, Saturday afternoons watching Mid-South Wrestling here in Jackson, Mississippi, all the way back to the days of Colonel Buck Robley, Dick Murdoch, Junkyard Dog in Mid-South, coming to you live from the Shreveport Armory. My wife is a wrestling fan, but I would describe her as a casual wrestling fan.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
You're not into the news and the politics and the business of the wrestling business and the storylines and the people moving from this place to that place.
I'm into that.
You're not primarily, you're a WWE watcher.
Oh, yeah.
So there's WWE, there's AEW, there's New Japan, there's NWA, there's TNA, there's so many other.
For sure. I'm definitely,
you are a casual, I would describe you as a casual wrestling fan. You're a WWE fan, although you are familiar with the WWE wrestlers and the storylines, and you're definitely a WrestleMania. You're more than just a WrestleMania watcher. There are some people who only watch WrestleManias. Mm-hmm. or the pay-per-views. You watch Raw, SmackDown, you go to the website, you look at the page, you see the videos that happen after the show's over with, that kind of thing. You might read up on the little news. So WrestleMania is coming up this weekend. What are you looking forward to the most for WrestleMania 40?
Just like any other sport, football, basketball, anything like that. I am one of those people who attach myself to the performers or the artists or the players. So like I was always a Lakers fan, but my Laker fandom grew once Kobe got to the Lakers. So I was a Kobe fan, right? And the Lakers just kind of came with it. Same thing with the Cowboys. Anyway, but what I'm looking forward to for WrestleMania, anything bloodline related. I am now very, very excited about whatever they finna do with the three black girls, Jade, Naomi, and Bianca. That has me like, I didn't even expect the level of excitement that I experienced watching SmackDown this last time. I had no idea that was going to happen when I was watching it, because I'm not really... Bianca, I go back and forth with, because I think she acts too silly and hyper and not grounded enough. So she kind of get on my nerves. The ponytail with the little girl thing, like that's just kind of it for me. But I still
crazy because she's like 33.
Yeah, but she looks 12.
She does.
But I still like her, and she's very strong, and she's a good wrestler, and she's good entertainment, and she's good on the mic. Like I still like her, but she does kind of just fall right underneath. I'm a Rhea Ripley. I'm looking forward to Rhea and Becky. I like them. I like both of them. So I really don't care who wins. I'd be okay if Becky wins, but I absolutely want Rhea to keep the belt because I think she's a superb champion. She carries the belt well. I'm kind of looking forward to Cody and The Rock, but only because I want to see The Rock. Like, I really don't care about Cody at all. And I really don't want him to win this belt, but I know he's going to win it. Or I think he's going to win it. Looking forward to seeing Roman. What else? I'm looking forward to that match with all the tag teams.
Yeah, that's a bit of a clusterfuck right now. But, you know.
Have they worked it out yet?
Judgment Day versus Pete Dunne and the other guy and DIY and the New Day, and
they just threw everybody that was left over in this match.
And The Miz. What I think is going to happen here, because they're going to be on ladders, and I hope this is what happens, and I think this is the easiest way to do this. Of course, the tag team championships have been unified since the Usos did it 2 years ago, and they've unified right now. I think what they're going to do in this ladder match is they're going to have one team grab the SmackDown tag belts, and one team is going to grab the Raw tag belts, and then there's going to be a dispute for a second about being undisputed, and they're going to be like, no, y'all stay over here with y'all's, and y'all stay over here with y'all's, and then they're going to split the belts back up, because they always have to do that.
That makes sense.
So I think that's what's going to happen, and I think having it in a cage, and, you know, having a ladder match with all of these moving pieces, I think this is what allows for them to go ahead and say, we're going to get the belts off of Judgment Day, and then we're going to also split the belts up at the same time. I think that R-Truth and The Miz might actually get their hands on the Raw belt, because right now R-Truth is really hot. And because he's hot right now and his character is hot and he's getting a lot of TV time, I think that they're, you know, just out of loyalty to what him and Miz do, because people, I don't think, really kind of see how consistent Miz and R-Truth are in coming to work every day and being a vital part. They're there every day, rarely getting injured, and useful in whatever capacity.
And entertaining.
You can have Miz or R-Truth do absolutely anything that you need them to do. They can go out at a house show and they can entertain the crowd and pass time, or you can have them to be a filler match for somebody. They can do an interview. They're going to be entertaining either way. And I think R-Truth now, because he's getting into the twilight of his career, I think they're going to give him a tag run with Miz, and they've been tag team champions before. And I think they're going to have one of the belts on whichever show that they're on. And they also got to figure out a way to separate Damian Priest so that he can finally figure out what he's going to do to cash in on the Money in the Bank briefcase, which I think he might be doing at some point.
You don't think that's going to happen at WrestleMania?
It might possibly. Drew McIntyre is going to beat Seth because he's worked up his character to the point where, you know, he's going to win, and they need somebody else to put that belt on that's going to really defend that belt and make it worth something, because right now on Seth's body, you forget that Seth is even a world champion now because he's involved in a totally different storyline. Don't know where any of that storyline is going. I think now after The Rock jumped Cody, I don't see The Rock turning on Roman. But I also see a scenario where maybe he does turn on Roman and takes over the bloodline, because I would love that. Roman is about to be a face at some point. He's going to be a face. They've always wanted him to be a huge face, and they're going to have him to be a face at some point. And the best way to do this is just have The Rock go crazy and do this whole final boss thing. And then at the end of the match, because he's going to lose, I really wish they just go ahead and give Cody the belt. I don't want to see Roman take a pin. His reign has been magnificent. It has been one of the best that I've seen in modern times. The Tribal Chief is one of the best characters that I've ever seen. He is that dude, and I don't want to see him take a 3 count. I'm going to turn the pay-per-view off when it gets to 2, or I'm going to pause it, or I'm going to forward through, because I don't want to see him take that pin. He's going to take a pin. It's going to be in chaos. They're talking about this Avengers Endgame type of scenario that's supposed to happen, where Stone Cold comes through the portal and John Cena comes through the portal, and everybody comes in to save them from the bloodline so that Cody can win. That's what the talk is right now. And I just...
Man, if Stone Cold come out there, I'm going to lose my shit.
Hey, listen.
This is going to be a very good WrestleMania. It's going to be. There have been some that were okay, but this one is going to be magnificent. I'm looking forward to it being back to back both nights.
The Rock coming in definitely kicked it up a notch. We're not getting what we thought we were getting right off the bat, because we thought it was going to be Roman versus The Rock, which would have been huge.
And I still want to see that.
And it's probably going to happen at some point with Rock being the heel. At some point, I think Rock versus Cody is going to happen at some point. But they're setting Cody up to be a super baby face. They're setting him up to be the Hulk Hogan of this time frame, which I can say I will give him his props. He bet on himself. You know, everybody knows the story. You know, Cody wasn't getting any good looks. He was getting mid-card work. Vince McMahon told him that he just didn't think that he had it, and he was going to be where he was, and Cody left. He said, release me, let me go. They let him go. Cody went out on the independents, and he made himself a star, came back, and he's now finna main event WrestleMania, which would not have happened had he stayed. Mm-hmm. So I can give him props for that. He's made himself into a wrestling commodity. I don't want to see him turn into another Hulk Hogan figure. I don't want to see him beat Roman. I literally believe that Roman should be unbeatable and should be invincible, because that's what his character has been. But this is going to happen. We've seen more diversity, which I'm sure for the average wrestling fan is probably pissing them off now, because there was a Latino segment where there were 9-10 Latino wrestlers in the ring at one time.
Yeah, you got these black girls coming in here against the Asian girls.
And you have the Asian faction that is over here as well. You know, you got the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley doing their thing. You know, so there's a lot of diversity going on in WWE right now. The women's division, I think from the time that you started watching it up till now, has turned into a different thing.
Listen, when I first came back to watching it, and there was so many women wrestling, I was like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Because I was not used to it.
It took you a minute too.
Yes, Lord, it did.
Like, why are these women wrestling so many matches?
Yes, because when I stopped the first time, you would get one women's match a night. Mm-hmm. Now it's several, and they are good. Yes. Like they are just as entertaining, just as beautiful, just as everything as the men. And I had no idea. So now I actually have female favorites. I never had a female favorite before.
They've got enough to where they've got 2 female belts.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to be a good match.
I liked Lita, though.
Yeah, and that was in the Divas stage when they were called Divas, and there was a Divas championship, but it was not enough women to go around, and definitely the level of competition was not what it is now. You got some real athletes really getting in there and mixing it up and doing their thing in there now, and it's good.
Could fight some of them dudes.
Yeah.
I believe Rhea Ripley could beat a good number of them fellas in the back.
Yeah, well, they had the storyline with her.
too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think where they had, Rhea facing up with dudes a lot and dudes kind of being scared to mix it up with her, but she would mix it up with them. And you can do that. I think Jade Cargill is a superstar.
Yeah.
She is a once-in-a-lifetime. She works out, clearly. Her and Bianca are magnificent physical specimens.
Oh, my God. Bianca's abs. Jeez Louise. I ain't never seen a woman with abs like that.
At one time, Naomi was like, that's the fine black chick on SmackDown, and she stood next to Jade and Bianca, and you forgot she was over there in the picture.
Her outfit didn't help.
The outfit was crazy. The hair,
they
had just got through tussling, so the hair was kind of crazy on her head. You saw Jade kind of take her hair and get it straight, when they stood up for that shot. Naomi just kind of got up off the mat and was like, yeah, what's going on? And it was kind of looking all over the place, and I was like,
She's
okay.
Excited.
She is excited.
She just got back, and she's going to WrestleMania.
She did. It's a huge moment, and Jade Cargill's first match in the WWE, her first official match, will be at WrestleMania.
That's exciting.
They are spending a lot of money on her. She's getting a lot of pub. They definitely see the superstar in her. She was in AEW, of course. She was in the other wrestling organization that Cody started and came back to over here to the WWE. But she was over there. She was a star in that.
Did you see her wrestle over there?
Yes. She was a champion over there. She was undefeated over there. She lost one match, and the one match she lost was the one when she was leaving and her contract was going out. It's customary that when you're leaving a company, you lose your last match and put somebody over. So she lost and somebody beat her, and she left, and it was big news about her leaving. The entire time that she was there, people were saying that she's going to make it to WWE because she was really that good, and she is that good. She's a former basketball player, and she's married to a professional baseball player, a black guy, I forget what his name is, and it was a lot of news and a lot of hype around her. And she is going to be a big star. Interesting to see what's going to happen between her and Bianca and Naomi, because somewhere in there they're going to mix that up.
Well, I'm glad that they're going the route they're going to introduce her in there. I like it. I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
I hope they can figure out some kind of way to make them a crew, because we haven't seen that. If they can make Asuka and Dakota and what's the girl name?
Carrie Sane.
No, what's the champ? EO. If they can make them a crew, then they can make the black chicks a crew.
And it was cool because, EO and Asuka and Kairi were a crew in Japan because they came from Shimmer, which is a Japanese women's organization. And I go deep into it. Like I said, my wife doesn't go nearly like.
But I don't have to, because you can tell me.
Yeah. And I try to get her to watch AEW. I'm going to try to get her, once I get her to watch AEW, because AEW has people like Jericho and Edge that and Christian people she's familiar with. I can use that as a draw in for her to get in. Once I get her in and she gets honed in with a little bit of the action in AEW, I think that she'll start watching it. And once I get her watching a whole nother wrestling show that ain't AEW, then I can give her a little bit of TNA. And then I can just start sending her stuff on YouTube, and I'm going to get her, y'all. I'm going to grab her. I'm going to get her in there.
The production got to be clear. I don't be wanting to look at not so crisp shows.
Well, AEW is going to get you there because millionaires run that one. The others, they're cool. It's not like you watching me filming somebody in the backyard, flipping around.
Some of the ones you've shown me do look like that.
Well, I enjoy that because I enjoy.
You're actually watching the wrestling.
I actually will watch the matches.
I need everything.
You need the production value.
Yeah.
And I get that. And, we're going to try. I've tried to slip in some AEW. You've sat and watched it for a couple of seconds.
You got me on NXT. That's still WWE.
But that's still WWE though. So the production value on that is really good. So that's still going to be easy for you.
I was resistant to that.
Yeah. Because it's for you, it's about I need to know the characters. I need to know why they're here. I need to know what their deal is. And that's how you get into it. And that's how a lot of people get into it. They need to know the story. I need to know the characters. Why should I like this person? What's this person about? I like that promo. I like what they got on. It's easier for you to do that with WWE and NXT than it is for other
I'm a
places.
writer. I need the story to be there. I need the character to be clear. I need all of that. And most of the time, I find myself liking the bad people, the heels anyway.
And I grew up not liking the heels at all. I grew up, and I still kind of am. I am the good guy should always win guy. And I've always been that guy coming up, superhero beats the villain. I never cheered heels. I found as I've gotten to be an adult and I figured out how life is, and you live life and you understand sometimes why the villains do what they do, or watching Black Panther and being conflicted with Killmonger and what he's doing, but being named a villain, I started cheering villains. Roman is one of the first wrestlers 2 years ago when he came back. I started cheering for Roman. His character was so good as an evil heel, as the biggest heel in the company. It was so good that I began cheering Roman. I was putting my ones up. When the bloodline came out, I was all for the heelness. I love it.
I can do the in between, like not the Codys, but I can do the John Cena's and the Stone Colds and the LA Knights. I could do them. But my biggest issue with the faces is that they are limited.
Mm-hmm. There's only so much they can do.
That's only
they have to
so
be
much.
nice.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but the heels can do whatever. The Rock whooping Cody with that belt. That's the type of stuff I'm on. That's my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you really going after it, go after it. You got these rules and regulations mean all these different things. I can't do that because I'm good. And it's just like, why do you keep letting this happen? Nobody in the real world would keep taking this. You could pick this chair up and knock this dude over the head. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's going to be Cody's problem ultimately, that I think is going to make his character stale, because he's trying to be the super duper face. He's trying to be the Hulk Hogan face guy. He's trying to bring that back a little bit without any edge. And
that's what got him smacked in the face. He
still speaks nicely of his rival in the interview, still tries to big up them.
Shaking their hands.
Got in the ring when it was Seth and The Rock and Roman got in there and said, hey guys, why don't we just take a moment to take in this moment while all of us are here? Nigga, no.
We will not.
No, we're not
interested
in
the moment.
This in. I'm not rocking with you like that, man.
Take this smack in your face.
Yes, that's what you do. Take the smack in the face. But you only get that after you done live some life. When you're a 12-year-old kid, you're like, yeah, let's all take in the moment. That's good to be a good guy. But then, once you done live life and you've actually had to deal with humans in a work setting, then you're like, no, let's not take this in. I want to punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got beef. And I want to punch you in the face. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hope everybody has a good time at your WrestleMania parties. And we may talk about wrestling a little bit more on here. I've been kind of avoiding it because I don't want us to get into, because I could talk about wrestling for an hour. But, maybe we'll do some little shorts where we talk about, Raw or SmackDown on here, maybe just as a separate thing, if y'all like that, because we do watch Raw and SmackDown, and it'd be good to hear different opinions from somebody who has been watching for 35 years versus somebody who is
I would like to do that.
Casual fan.
It's fun. Wrestling is fun. I would like to do that.
Maybe we'll do some Raw and some SmackDown reviews. And they'll be like shorter little things that we can kind of review the show in 20 minutes and go over the matches and put that out there. And we'll see how that does. Y'all might like that content. So we'll try to.
They might not, but we can do it anyway.
We can do it anyway because we like it.
Exactly.
And I know that there's a lot of wrestling fans out there because I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts on YouTube. And people be watching. And they be commenting and they like it. So, and a lot of those people are really diehard, deep into it wrestling fans. It's not a lot of reviews, I think, from people who are casual fans like yourself that are watching it with a totally different lens.
Well, that's what makes us different.
An innocent lens.
We got a balance.
Yes. You're watching from an innocent lens. You're clearly watching for the entertainment value. And
Period.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's all. So that'll be good. But at any rate, we're going to get on out of here. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. A lot of stuff going on this week, so we didn't get to half of what we wanted to talk about, but the conversation just flowed. So I think that was cool. But anyway, we're going to holler at you guys next time. Y'all make sure y'all keep following us on social media. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. I am Kaz.
And I'm Queen.
And this has been According to Kaz and Queen. I will see you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.